think about 2,000 years ago, they were having naval battles in an arena.
Yeah.
So they were having the shows that we see in Pigeon Forge, like the pirate show. They were having those in one of the wonders of the world.
They had an awesome venue, and had some great...
and they had sharks with laser beams on their freaking heads.
So we meet again, or possibly for the first time. Welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. We have Jeremy Gover, Justin Bradford, I am Jim Chandler. You go see the movie, then come talk about it with us. We'll share our opinions. We're talking about Gladiator II, 20 years after the original Best Picture with Russell Crowe. We find Lucius is forced to leave his home and return to Rome ruled by tyranny. He has the chance to restore Rome to glory, but that road goes through the brutal Colosseum.
Whose head could I give you that would satisfy this fury?
The entire Roman armies.
Too much?
The general will do.
Plus, we'll answer the big question.
The big question this week is, what is the most intense battle scene you've ever seen in a movie?
Ooh, there's going to be some battles about that battle question.
You're right, lots of battles.
All right, some initial takes on Gladiator II. Let's start with Jeremy Gober.
This movie felt arrogant. It has an incredible cast. It has an award-winning IP. It has the same director, who is well accoladed, by the way, well decorated. It has everything. The set pieces are amazing. The historical context is great. There's so many things going for it. And it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. But when I left the theater, I thought, they took it for granted. That is my initial take on Gladiator 2.
Interesting.
It obviously doesn't match up to the first one. I mean, that's a given.
Sure.
Like, how do you?
Right.
So, while it is beautifully shot, great casting, great battle sequences, like great choreography in the fights, good acting on screen, it's rinse repeat of a story, even with a historical context. And while I did overall just enjoy it as one film, why? That's more the thing. Why? We got a little bit more of a story, right, with the sun and things like that. But why? It was not necessary. It wasn't necessary. Who was clamoring that we needed more of the story because it ended well. It ended. Could you have explored more? Yes, because there's history. But did you? Did you have to?
The production companies wanted to because of money.
Money. My initial take was, I hold Gladiator, as many do, in the highest regard. It is one of the most, rewatchable movies in my household. We just adore it. There was a lot to live up to. I didn't think it was ever going to live up to the original, but I think it's a pretty solid movie. I have a lot to like about Gladiator II. All right, let's go a little deeper into Gladiator II. Let's talk to Jeremy Gover. Let's get into that arrogance a little bit, or anything else that you think contributed to that feeling.
It's a movie with a grand scope. Okay, it's an epic. Okay, it's shot as one. It's obviously a period piece, but like the sweeping landscapes and the cinematography and all these things are huge. Yep. The Colosseum it's like one of the wonders of the world. Like they've got things going on in that. It's bigger than life. And the story was actually decent. But it's nothing we haven't seen before.
Rinse, repeat.
Yeah. So, to me, it's like, yes, if you're going to go see it, I'm not going to judge you for it. I think you should see it on the biggest screen possible, by the way. Don't wait till streaming on this. Don't do that. Go see it in the big screen.
The battle scenes alone are worth it for the big screen.
Yes, for sure. And, and they play the drama well and all that. But there's just so many things that I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, you had all of this, like I said earlier, you have all of this, you have a laundry list of the assets going for you. And you capitalized on them. That's great, but there actually was not more depth to it.
So, as a movie on its own, say that was not connected to something else.
Yes.
Right.
I think it would be more well received. Like if you say that Gladiator 1 didn't exist and this movie just came out on its own,
Okay.
even with the storytelling and talking about Maximus and things like that, you'd pick up on context clues to still understand what they're referring back to.
Do you think it is viewable without seeing the original Gladiator?
Yes.
Absolutely. I thought so.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I think review-wise, it would be more well received if Gladiator 1 didn't exist.
But I'm not judging it off of Gladiator
No, I'm not
1.
either. I'm just saying that everyone is going to be. Is it number one? Well, no, it's not. You know, it's not going to be. Jimmy even said it's not going to be. It's not going to live up to that.
How many Best Pictures sequels have won Best Picture?
Exactly. So,
It's like one, I
as
think.
a standalone, right? This movie's it's not bad at all.
No.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good, but you're always going to be comparing some things. You have a great cast. What did you want more from it? What could have they done? Everyone's going to ask what if questions when it comes to this kind of film. And so this is where the arrogance thing comes in, is that, well, we made it because we could.
I'm going to jump in and say this. I'm going to put Ridley Scott into George Lucas pre-1999. Okay.
Pre-prequels, if you will.
Yes, I think that technology progressed to a point, and he kind of proved that with the battles in Napoleon, which he also directed. That, wow, yeah, which is a crap movie, by the way.
Jim is well on record for not liking that film.
And I think Joaquin Phoenix jumped the shark in that movie. But the capabilities, I think Ridley Scott was drawn to this movie because he was able to show it in that epic, sprawling, and I think George Lucas had the same temptation with the prequels.
Yeah.
The technology had caught up with what his vision of the movie was going to be. So, I mean, I think that's Ridley Scott's motivation here. I love everybody in this movie as actors and their performances. Paul Mescal, I really like. He's one of those people that has been bubbling under the surface, and this is going to be the thing that raises his profile tremendously. His was actually one of the performances I didn't like as much as the others.
Oh, wow.
And one of it was like, I don't know if this was his take on it or if this was a directorial thing, but he was a little too smiley and jokey at times in this movie for me, considering the circumstances that are going on at the time and what the consequences of everything he's going to do. I mean, like, you know, his good friend dies or his wife dies, and it's not long after he's just like joking around with the guys being carted around in a wagon who are going to the gladiator camp. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's his trauma response.
It could be. It didn't ring with me.
I'm not saying it is. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I doubt it. But I mean, but that's small. Okay. Overall, I think he was pretty good in it. I had no idea if this movie was going to be a prequel, a sequel, or origin story. I had no idea going in, and I purposely do that for movies. I was pleasantly surprised when all of a sudden we see Connie Nielsen as Lucilla 20 years after her true love, Maximus, is dead, and she sent her son off. You know, where is she? How has she coped? I mean, that was kind of cool. It was great to see people like Derek Jacobi, who was a member of the Senate, who, like, you know, looks exactly the same age as he did 20 years ago. So it was kind of neat to see those throwbacks. They weren't throwbacks. These are where these people are 20 years later, and this is what they're dealing with. But you know, to me, there was so much to like. I really enjoyed the writing in this movie. It comes from some people that, okay, one of the guys who co-wrote this movie, David Scarpa, he did Napoleon, which we've already established.
We've talked about
We'll
that.
say no more. The other is Peter Craig, who did The Batman, which a little more, I get that. He also did Top Gun Maverick, which is a popcorn movie. So there was some script writing here that I thought was really good. There were so many quotable lines that I just thought, wow, that's great. This is one of the things that elevates it above just like, sweaty, muscly guys, without shirts on fighting, which I like that part too. But there's more to it.
Especially when you bring historical context into a film like this, even though there's obviously liberties that are 100% taken.
Sure.
But you bring in the historical context of the potential fall of Rome, the dream of Rome expanding the empire too much, and you have these emperors wanting to go and conquer more, and they're being advised, well, how are we going to feed them? How are we going to support an empire this large? Well, it doesn't matter. It's warmonger. They just want a warmonger.
What are the realities of this? Don't tell me.
Right. And then you have, the general wanting to basically overthrow. Like, there's so many different angles of history behind this, and the politics behind it and everything, which I did enjoy. I did enjoy Denzel being a villain as well. It was good. When his smile kicks in.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it's that Denzel smile of, he's up to something.
Yeah, and what I loved is it wasn't evident at first that he was going to be a villain. So I like that turn that the movie made. Let's talk about Dumb and Dumber, and I'll tell you the two guys, the co-emperors of this movie, which, I mean, there is some factual basis for it, like the insanity and the inbreeding, and just people they had a weird style, the very upper crust of Roman society back then. And by the way, I'm not one of those guys that thinks about the Roman Empire every day. I don't. But I know
thought about it in years.
Yeah, me neither. But I've read books. Okay, so I went to school.
I have not.
I went to school. That they were weird. They were deliciously fun. I thought maybe a little over the top.
I'm just glad they died.
Yeah. To which they satisfied every person in the theater.
As soon as they hit the screen, we're going, please make sure these MFers get offed.
Kill them! Kill them!
Because they're so over the top and annoying on purpose.
Right. Yes.
There was
how
a
character
reason.
Develop.
Right. There was a reason why I felt that. So they accomplished the job of please kill these.
It's how they got killed that I loved.
Oh, a man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fights in the Colosseum. I mean, that's a big draw for this movie. That's why people go. Many.
The naval battle.
That was okay. Not in the Colosseum, but. Yes, that was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was in the Colosseum.
Where they filled the Colosseum with water
all right,
and they had the CGI fake ass
No,
sharks.
you're right. I was
CGI fake ass sharks.
Terrible.
Yeah, that was
half a point for Gover.
No, it's a full point.
No,
full point.
You're right. I thought you were talking about
the invasion.
The invasion at the beginning of the movie.
No.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that was a little unbelievable, but it was pretty cool.
But it was historically did happen.
Really?
Did it really?
Yes, it was the Namache. They would.
Well, I think we know. Because I think we know who thinks about the Roman Empire all the time.
No, I looked it up before recording. I did my research, like we're supposed to do before we do a show.
I'm not going to look up the historical data of Gladiator II.
It's not historical data. It's seeing what's real and what was not.
Right.
So I literally typed in, did they really fill the Colosseum with water? Yes, they diverted the aqueducts to fill the Colosseum.
That's excellent.
So they could host naval battles.
That's awesome.
Which is why I appreciate it more, because it truly did happen. It just shows the Romans and how far developed they were as a society.
Yeah.
And then they got too much of an ego.
Right.
And they fell. But you think about 2,000 years ago, they were having naval battles in an arena.
Yeah.
So they were having the shows that we see in Pigeon Forge, like the pirate show. They were having those in one of the wonders of the world.
They had an awesome venue and had some great.
And they had sharks with laser beams on their freaking heads.
I actually said that to myself as I was watching the movie. They just need laser beams. I truly enjoyed the one-on-one battle between Denzel Washington's character and Paul Mescal's in shallow water. the kind of moat around the gates of the city. I thought that was awesome. Here's where I truly loved the references back to the original Gladiator. I wasn't feeling it when he grabbed his dad's stuff off the wall, okay? But when Dad's shield was repeatedly saving his life, as that sword is coming down in the water and, from the past or the great beyond, Maximus is protecting his son. I thought that was really cool. And then, whoop, whoop, just chop off, Denzel's hand. Yep, a little bit of Star Wars. And then, end it. I loved it. It was a great scene.
I liked it.
Let's get the numbers. Gladiator II. What does it score for you, Justin Bradford?
Overall, I did enjoy it. Not as good as the first, like we said, but as a standalone too. Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
It hit a lot of things for me. Now, I will say, it was interesting for me in my mindset because I pulled off the Glickid moment. I saw Wicked, and then I had basically an hour and a half break. And I went and saw Gladiator. So two completely different kinds of movies that I had to get my mindset correct for. Yeah. I feel like I was able to accomplish that, to be able to soak this in terms of world building, things like that, completely different kinds of worlds. So it was a unique type of opportunity to take those two kinds of movies and just like a Barbenheimer, two completely opposite ends of the movie spectrum in that manner.
Yeah.
So for you, it was Wikiator. Because that was the order. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Never mind.
Beautifully shot. I mean, Ridley Scott knows how to set a scene, right?
Yeah.
Even in an awful movie like Napoleon, you know how to set a scene.
Yeah,
Beautifully cast. Really enjoyed the cast. I have to give it an 8.0.
Jeremy Gover, let's go to you.
Why
Well, because it just seems higher than what you said earlier. So CGI, there were some CGI issues. The sharks, in particular, were pretty bad. It felt rushed, I guess is what I'm saying. There were moments that felt rushed. Like it was like, hey, we have to hit this window to get the most financial gain out of it in the theaters. So therefore, we have to get it done by a certain time. Let's cut some corners. And they chose the sharks. So there's that. But that's not what I want to talk about. To me, my biggest takeaway when trying to figure out how I felt about this movie, other than the obvious, which is, again, we said the cast is great, right? Story was compelling, all these things, was there were so many convenient things that happened in this film. Now, there are convenient things that happen in every project because that's how you tell a story. But in this particular one, I noticed multiple, and I will focus on one for you.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I was just going to say, and in particular, is there one?
In particular, the prison break scene. Okay, when Hanno, who is now Lucius or whatever the hell his name is, he is going to break out, but he's already got he's got Ravi's keys, right? So he's already kind of prepared all the gates and all the prisoners are ready to break out. Okay?
Yep.
Vigo comes along and spits on him or whatever the thing. They had the thing standoff to pull him out of his cage, and he says some choice words, and then he breaks the cage open, goes after Vigo. They get into a little bit of a tussle. Spits a few lines of dialogue at him, stabs him with this wooden spear that he just got, or wooden sword he just got. And then the guards on the second story, who are cocked and ready the whole time, by the way, with their bow and arrows, then they decide, you know what? We should probably get off break and go ahead and take care of this uprising. And then they fire at him.
That is the
ridiculous
perfect Gover, little picky uni. I love you being you.
Thank you. Absolutely ridiculous.
I don't want to be in your brain ever when watching.
Well, I'm telling you, these are things that come to me. I'm not looking for them. There's so many things like that. That was, of course, the epitome of just like, oh my God, really?
It led to the line I liked about, with the point of a wooden sword and metal sword are just the same, Yeah. I'm paraphrasing here.
A point is a point.
A point is a point. But they waited until, okay, anyway, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my final, again.
Get on with it.
I am. The grand scheme of things, this is a really solid movie. I recommend anybody goes out and see it, again, on the biggest screen possible. You can see it in IMAX. I would go do that. If you just don't have that next to you, go see it on the big screen. Do not wait for streaming on this. Gladiator 2 definitely holds its own, but it's not it's a shell of its original predecessor. 6.5.
Okay.
Oh, I was expecting like a 7 something.
Well,
That's what you were saying.
It felt long, right? There was a couple scenes that could be cut. There's a couple things that should be in there that aren't. Like when the Handmaiden, for example, they kind of just threw a scene in there. The Handmaidens, because it's another one of the example, by the way. Now I'm on a second one, right? But they're, the wife and husband are talking about, how that's her son, and she finally reveals to right, and all of us, nobody's in there the entire time. It's like a 3-minute monologue or exchange about how this is really him. Are you sure? Yes, it is. Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, there's like this 1.5 second, and it may not even be that shot of a handmaiden going.
But they said
in the back of the room.
But they did set it up with foreshadowing when they dismissed her previously.
Absolutely,
so
they
they set it up.
did.
So I don't think they need to do more.
But my point is, if you're Sir Ridley Scott, who is a masterful director, who has won multiple awards,
made some of the greatest movies.
Be better than what I would do as an amateur filmmaker. Hey, we have to show that there's a spy link. This is where it is. Let's just put a 1.5 second shot of this random
but they
lady.
Foreshadowed it. So what more do you want for that?
I want it done more seamlessly.
I did not see it like you did because you just recreated the Homer gif of him fading into the bushes.
Well, I mean, she touched a candlestick or something and then just disappeared. And I was like, wow, really? That's how we're going to explain that? And that's another example.
That, of all things for you to nitpick, though, of all things, that was
Because
explained so well and so easily.
To be there. They can do it so much better.
Oh, man.
You're Sir Ridley Scott. Be better.
He did do Napoleon, too. So he has his moments. He did some of the greatest movies of all time.
The potential is there.
Yeah.
The
Gopher
potential.
has his moments that make him belong somewhere else.
I will.
This movie was not Gladiator. I think, it's kind of interesting that one of the writers did Top Gun Maverick. And I think maybe not as well as Top Gun Maverick, but what they've done here is given you all the things you demanded from a sequel from a long time ago, and they made it satisfying. So, I mean, hats off. Top Gun Maverick did it. People came back to the theaters that hadn't been in the movies for 15, 20 years. So, yeah, it is not Gladiator, but I think it had all the elements of what people want to see from a Gladiator type film. I don't think it was as high cinema as the original, but it was pretty close, and it just it checked the boxes for me. I came away pretty happy, and I'm giving Gladiator 2 an 8.0 as well. It's time on the Untitled Film Project to get serious. No, we're not going to get serious. We're going to answer the big question.
What's the most intense battle scene you've ever seen in a movie? That is the question for today. We'd love to get your feedback on it. You can hit us on Twitter or Blue Sky or Instagram or wherever you want, maybe even in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Let's start with Jim.
All right. I think this is probably the easy answer, but maybe you'll prove me wrong.
Going first.
Hopefully I'm not taking anybody's here, but storming the beach of Normandy in Saving Private Ryan. Oh, I just took it.
I have a backup.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It's not a draft. You can say the same one.
It's to me, that is a scene I said I would never watch again, and I did hold true to that with Saving Private Ryan. I actually would go past that scene because it was so intense and so brutal, and made war so real, like no movie I've ever seen before. That to me, that was just the most intense. So I had but I have gone back and watched it one more time recently because I said, you know what, that's not fair. It is difficult to watch, but it should be for what it is.
Right.
So that's the most intense battle scene. Easy.
Bradford. It was a great choice, Jim.
Thank you.
Great choice.
Great people think alike.
Yeah.
Great because it was his choice.
Exactly.
This is an A to B conversation. C is not involved. All right. My choice, and this is probably because it's probably my favorite battle scene, just in terms of I will watch this movie just for this battle scene, will be the Battle of Helm's Deep. Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
Okay.
Intense battle because there's stakes. And you're waiting for people to show up to help. You're waiting. And when the elves show up, it's huge. And then when Gandalf shows up, it's the best. I mean, it is an intense, and it's a long part of that movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think Return of the King, yeah, those are intense battle scenes. But the Battle of Helm's Deep just seems like the stakes are even higher to me with the people that are there as well, too. It's incredibly shot. It takes place overnight.
It's a standout.
It's a standout. Like, that is my favorite battle scene, like, favorite to go and watch. I'll watch the whole trilogy just to watch that battle scene again. But I will not skip to it. I have to watch the whole thing and let it develop on its own.
All right, excellent answer. Gover, most intense battle scene.
Face Off. Just kidding.
Oh my God, I haven't even thought about that in years.
Wow.
Well, good. And I did my job with the joke. Then I just random.
Like it.
No, my favorite battle scene. I'm changing it from most intense to favorite because, quite honestly, I could not come up with the gravity of a battle scene like Saving Private Ryan. That wasn't. Those are all not common answers, but they're kind of the go-to answers. So I'm just going to go with Endgame.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Because not only because obviously the fanfare around it was just amazing. Okay, all that. But what I mean is I legit didn't know how they were going to beat him.
Right.
I did not know what the final blow was going to be. You pretty much know Thanos is going to die, but I didn't know how it was going to happen. He seemed to be so in control and so powerful. He's got the time stone, so he can just rewind stuff as he should do in Infinity War. So it's more about that. It's more about the fact that, yes, it was intense and it was big and grand in scope and all that. But I, as an audience member, legit didn't know what was going to happen. I did not know how they were going to get to the end. And they were like, minutes from it. I mean, probably 15, 20 minutes from the end of the film or from the credits. And I had no idea how it was going to end. That is a testament of a great movie, Avengers Endgame.
Excellent answers.
I like it. I like that a lot.
What are your answers? What was the most intense battle scene in a movie that you've ever seen? Did it involve, I don't know, people pulling their hair, like knockdown, drag out, cafeteria fight? It doesn't matter. It's your answer, and your answer is right for you.
And you cannot use Face Off because I've already said it.
Yeah, that's right. Let us know. We're everywhere from Blue Sky, Threads, and all the legacy social medias. Just media us, will you, and tell us what you think is the most intense battle scene, and tell us also, what did you think of Gladiator II? Did it live up to your expectations? Were you entertained?
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.